I muted the mic. Boom. What a way to start. Anyway, so welcome back. This is the finale because we're gonna play this until we're done. I think I could be overestimating, and then we get to the fourth person on the train, and then it's like a whole 10. I swear the game really starts, and it's actually like a Final Fantasy type thing. But anyway, I know you can hear me now because I can see the levels. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, and I hope you're blessed. And thanks for coming. Yeah, this is just another chill game stream. We're gonna get right into the game, and yeah, Aj, get the notepad out because last night was not straightforward, fam, and we need to be taking notes in this game. Where we are is in that library with Senor Long Neck, who's eating the books of our memory. I was getting pissed off when we were playing this guy last night. I just said slap a one if you can hear me properly, yeah? Let me put the headphones on. Hey, yeah, because now I can turn myself up. Even though I don't need to hear myself, it's just confirmation that my mic is working. Anyway, so yeah, we were in the library with my man. I didn't even remember this guy's name. I don't know if it was relevant. I don't want to remember the name of a wicked sorcerer beast. This guy thinks he needs to make trades. He's already like what's my man said. Somebody gonna get a hurt real bad. He's finished. He's in the dark dimension with Grok or whatever that book's guy's name is. But we kind of got stuck because we've given him all the books. But what more? What more is there? Anyway, let's jump back in. I got my notebook. This guy, I don't know, man. I wouldn't do anything. I'm not making any trades that's putting me in a position where I'm gonna end up in a place like this. Wagwan inside. Yeah, man, we're back in the same place, bro. Same place as yesterday. Ah, maybe we didn't get around here. Look at that. Someone's Reiatsu is coming off. Yeah, nah, I hear that, bro. This guy's a dummy. Unless I'm the dummy, and if we ended up in a library and I didn't understand all the books, I kind of understand some of the logic of going to give it back to the librarian. But after he ate the first book, I'm not going back to you. What do you mean? This guy's too trusting. But let's do it again, obviously. Because we're not playing as me. We're playing as this schmuck. Nah, this animation's amazing. He got dropped outside the dungeons of fear and hunger. He's cooked. Oh, this is the war. Just to let you know, I'm not clicking. Why do I have a feeling him freeing them is gonna involve them dying? It's gonna make this guy OD. Sorry, 1 second. I see that's that high quality heroin. I lie, but everybody there hates you. This guy's getting cooked, cooked by ghosts. Let me go find a bullet for him, man. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, but yeah, man, put him out of his misery. I'm sorry, I will not leave. Proceeds to leave straight away. Peek. Am I gonna put him out his misery with a pillow? Oh my days. Damn. I guess man had to. RIP. I feel like my mic sensitivity is way too high. But then that gets too low. Because I feel like you can just hear everything. My guy didn't hesitate for 1 second. Man sounds like a boss battle to me. Okay, yeah. If you don't remember, Aj, this is the room that his story started in. So, one, two. Okay. This game is very demonic, bruh. I hope Blade comes up and blows everybody's head smooth off. He deserves to be on that train, and I hope that train is taking him to hell. So he just died. I don't understand. So I'm just gonna come off the game for 2 seconds. So, besides this game being wicked, the guy that was in front of the mirror is Dr. Samuels, but he killed himself. But he was there to meet the Guardian. So, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm confused. I don't really understand the point of that. But nevertheless, let us continue. I just wanted to say that because I'm baffled right now. Okay. All right. So we beat the game. What did we learn? I don't know if I know. I'll be honest. I had fun. They're going to hell, as they should be. The trainers going to hell, apparently. But this being felt sympathy. Let's see if there's a YouTube video about it. Let us see. Okay. What did you think, Aj? What did you think of that? I like the graphics. I like the music. I like the themes. I would like to just understand a bit more about it. I'll be real. That is one thing I would really like to know. So we're gonna watch this video by Brother E-Man. If you haven't subscribed to Freedom is Capital, please go and do that now. We're gonna watch this video in a bit. But I would really like to know what we were watching. Hey, look at man's big head. You know why I wear a hat inside? Because I ain't got a trim. Should we watch a video of it explained in Hindi? Okay. How do you feel about watching this? I think I might go and get some water. It's cold in here.
How you doing? My name is Quendy and today I want to talk about this game entitled If on a Winter's Night for Travelers. This game is amazing, you guys. I downloaded this yesterday and I've already been playing for exactly 173 hours. It is that good. So the title is clearly a reference to Italo Calvino's If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, a novel that I kept promising my professors to read but still haven't. The game is set in 1929, somewhere in Central Asia, most likely in Alaska. We get inside a moving train in which every person is wearing a mask. Not this type of mask, but this type of mask. Two passengers are having a conversation. One of them cannot remember when or how they got on the train. The last thing he can remember is, well, that's what the first chapter is all about. In the silent room, we find out about the story of Carlo, the first passenger. He's staying in a hotel in Italy to meet his lover slash paramour, whose name is Patrick. I mean, seriously, look at the way this Patrick just prances into the room. You know that something's about to go wrong. The two of them exchange hugs and hellos, with Carlo doing his best to get Patrick into the bathtub with him. At least, that's what I'm trying to do, based on my choices. And then Patrick does something not so surprising. You guessed it, he breaks up with Carlo. Now Patrick attempts to convince Carlo into undergoing some early 20th century.
What I will say is, you can do two options because the playthrough that I did in the beginning, it doesn't go that way. You can choose to break up with him first rather than being broken up with, because that's what I did in my run.
Gay conversion therapy and Carlo was like, hell no. Patrick gets up to leave and even has the audacity to ask Carlo, his now ex-boyfriend, to call room service and order him a taxicab, but not without dropping a few hurtful words along the way. Of course, Carlo is angry. He is so angry that he calls Patrick a heartless you-know-what and also pushes him to his death. Boom! Let's see that again in slow motion. In a state of shock, Carlo goes to the bathroom to wash his face. Once he finishes, he finds something on the bed. It's an invitation to a ball, as well as a mask. Not this type of mask, but this type of mask. Carlo accepts the invitation, which in this game is a metaphor for committing suicide, and so we see him hanging under the ceiling fan next to Patrick's corpse. The chapter ends here. We're back on the train and another passenger joins the conversation. Her name is Valerie Winterbourne, who is helplessly searching for her husband, Henry. And this is where she begins telling her own story. In the slow vanishing of Lady Winterbourne, players bear witness to the unfortunate mental deterioration of our character. Honestly, it's an emotionally challenging chapter to experience. Just goes to show how amazing this game is when it comes to depicting the predicaments of its protagonist. There's a few things we need to understand in this chapter. First, Lady Valerie has been patiently waiting for her husband, Henry, to arrive. Second, she has a cat with the best name ever, Lord Socks. Third, every time she takes her medicine, her surroundings turn colorful from its usual black and white. Valerie spends her time walking around the house. After a couple of puzzles that involve reading some books and dancing to some early 1900s music, she finds herself in the conservatory, where she gets a glimpse of herself suffering from anguish. At this point, and perhaps earlier, you already know where this is heading. Valerie spots something in the water. After grabbing an umbrella, she attempts to pry out whatever that thing is. And that thing happens to be a cat. My lord. My dear lord. Yes, that's her lord. Lord Socks, her beloved pet from the painting. Running outside, she finds a newspaper on the floor. And back then, newspapers are that generation's TikTok. So Valerie finally relearns the truth about everything. Turns out, Lord Socks ran in front of Henry's automobile, causing the driver to crash the car, killing both the cat and the husband. Valerie, still under denial, breaks into Henry's study, which she finds empty. And here we see a heartbreaking scene where she struggles to embrace the truth of what happened. So she heads back downstairs to look for her medicine. In the parlor, we see the usual mask and invitation. Valerie accepts the invitation, and the next thing we see is her lifeless body lying in front of the cabinet where they kept her medicine.
She overdosed.
The chapter ends here. Back at the train, a fourth passenger joins the conversation. This time, it's a doctor. Dr. Jordan Samuels, to be exact. In the final chapter titled The Nameless Ritual, we see a few medical people performing some medical procedure in front of an audience. As the only black person in the room, Dr. Samuels suffers from harassment thrown by his peers. And when I say harassment, I mean good old-fashioned racism. Just look at this prick and the way everyone laughs at his joke. Soon, Dr. Samuel decides on the most acceptable way of getting revenge on his tormentors, which is to summon an evil entity by performing an ancient ritual. Who wouldn't do that, right? After a lengthy puzzle involving mixing chemicals and slicing his groin, he manages to breach into the other dimension to talk to the sleeping guardian. But as it turns out, this creature is not the guardian. It doesn't take long before he finds himself in a flooded library in which he must feed this spooky-looking librarian with pages from books about Samuel's life. Once that is over, he gets transported into the trenches, where he used to serve as a field doctor. He talks to the priest, who refuses to let him inside the confession booth unless he atones for his sins. And that's exactly what Samuel tries to do. He relieves his experiences of mercy killing these poor suffering soldiers, and honestly, watching this happen in front of me just broke my unbreakable heart. And so the priest lets him into the confession booth. It is here where he learns that he is the guardian all along, or that's how I understood it. I guess it's a case of looking deep into yourself so you can find the exact thing that you're searching for. Soon, Samuel finds himself surrounded by these dead and rotting corpses, who convince him to cut off his own stomach, one serving of intestines coming right up. After doing this macabre act, Samuel returns to his room and faces his own self, who then kills him, dead. The guardian is dead. Samuels is dead. And now he's on the train. The next few scenes provide us a terrific explanation of this entire thing, of where the train is going, of what the purposes of the passengers are, etc., etc. Turns out, one of the passengers who they're sharing stories with actually works for the train's owner, and that the owner is transporting these people below, aka hell. But the worker argues that they do not deserve to literally go to hell because of what they experienced back when they were still alive. And perhaps this is what makes the game so powerful. In the end, we are presented with a moral argument, a quandary that makes us ask, do these people, despite doing some criminally, morally, and spiritually questionable things, deserve to go to hell? Do they? The game doesn't present us with a direct answer, and it's up to us, as the players, to decide for ourselves. If on a Winter's Night, For Travelers is available on itch.io as a free download. This is Quendy, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye!
Big you up, Quendy, for your video. I appreciate the explanation, because I guess there wasn't too much to it. I mean, yeah, it was a game. I liked it. I enjoyed it. That is a powerful and important question to ask. But what else is on Steam? Actually, let's watch E-Man's video.
My name is Emmanuel, and this is Freedom is Capital, where we talk all things wealth, power, and progress. Now, today I want to talk about economics. Now, before you switch off, I think this is just one of those boring subjects that you have no interest in, doesn't affect you. Indulge me for a second. Because what if I told you that economics isn't what you may suppose it to be? Because to me, if there was ever a field of study that was riddled to the core with misconceptions that can actually cost us in a very real and practical way, it's economics. In fact, that leads me on to misconception number one. Economics is about money and complicated graphs. Now, as much as economics being about abstract theory and analyzing data and complex stats may be perceived as the dominant view, it really is a limited and inaccurate and even a self-discriminatory way of viewing economics. Because simply put, Economics is the study of you and I. It's about human behavior and decision making. It's about the why. It's about why it is that we do what we do and why we have what we have. It attempts to explain the rationale of a world that's full up of human beings, you and I, that have access to limited resources, but unlimited ones. If there's anything that you take from this video, let it be that. So economics is about why the rich have what they have and why you and I, perhaps, we don't. It's about why certain nations may have access to the most valuable resources in all of existence, but struggle to utilize them in the ways that suit them best. It's about why, and incidentally, this is one of my favorite quotes. It's about why there's no such thing as a free lunch. You see, someone always has to pay for it. And it's about understanding that. So if you're one of those who respectfully, but naively doesn't think that that's the case, likelihood is you're going to be one of those who foot the bill. Misconception number 2. What you want can come at zero cost. You see, Thomas Sowell said it best. There aren't any solutions. They're simply trade-offs. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that I think people think they can get things for free. It's more so that I think people underestimate the true cost of things. They haven't taken the time to really think about what it is they have to give up, not might, have to give up in order to get the thing that they actually want. And as a result, I think this might actually be single-handedly the most diabolical misconception of them all. Why? Because you never heard the lie, because it was never framed that way. We were just made to believe that there's always enough of something to accommodate the something that we actually want. Because don't you find it funny that we seldom get what it is that we ask for? Like literally, no matter what government takes power, notice you never actually get the improvement that we were promised. But somehow in all of that, our taxes go up. Now, some might say, okay, no, our taxes are not actually going up. No, listen, if there's inflation, and there's always inflation, your taxes go up. Now, we can get into the debate about whether inflation is a tax or not at a later date. But most definitely, it's a stealth tax. Okay, but anyway, what else is economics about? Well, it's about why some people work harder but earn less, while others work less but earn far more. It's about why prices rise faster than our wages, which obviously impacts us on an everyday basis, maybe leading us to make decisions like, oh, should I do overtime? Even though that comes at the expense of spending time with our loved ones, for instance. It's about how markets decide what gets produced and who actually gets to consume it. It's about why a nation can be up to their waist in debt. I'm talking trillions of dollars in debt and still thrive as a superpower in this world. While others, it can bring them to their knees and have them with their hands out begging the IMF for loans. Economics is about why competition drives innovation, but monopolies kill it. Economics is about why wealth is concentrated in a few hands and it provides insight on whether that's something that's inevitable or perhaps something that can be fixed. So economics is about why there's a conflict in Congo, in Sudan, in Palestine. It explains why it's still ongoing. Free Congo, free Sudan, and free Palestine. You see, economics isn't something that we can afford to ignore. It's not something that we can or should be afraid to talk about. It provides us with need to know, quality of life dependent information that they, the establishment, benefits from us not knowing or even caring much about. You see, as Alfred Marshall puts it, economics is the study of mankind in the everyday business of life. Which reminds me, misconception number 3, your feelings matter. I'll be real with you, man. No one gives a damn about what we feel. At least, not alone anyway. But if our feelings actually prompt us to do something, that's when it matters. That's when it's everything. You see, economics isn't about what you think. It's about what is. The integrity of economics isn't banked upon a person's intentions or moral judgments. It's less about identity politics, ideologies, speculation. It's about what somebody actually does. It's about how we all have to make decisions under constraints. That's fundamentally what economics is about. It's about real world actions and its consequences, whether you intend them or not. It's the very reason why I tend to say economics is life and life is economics. And personally, I think the sooner all of us come to terms with that reality, the sooner we'll be able to make decisions that better ourselves, our families, our communities at large. And that's what essentially this channel is about. Freedom is Capital is about us forming a community, creating a community, coming together, like-minded individuals who come up with ideas to tackle the issues that we often complain about. Issues that we have every right to complain about, by the way, but nonetheless, we complain about. Now, I don't know it all. I'm going to be reliant on you. And that's the benefit of a community, having like-minded individuals who who are moving diligently towards that end. And that's the point of freedom is capital. Freedom is that one thing that God's given to all of us, that to me is the biggest crime for anyone to be robbed of. Your ability to choose, that agency. Because to me, like capital, if you put it in the wrong places, if you make the wrong decisions, of course, it has implications. But also the lack of a decision leads to it depreciating. And so, people, I thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Big up. Big up, E-Man. Yeah. Like the video. Definitely agree, bro. But if a lack of economic understanding costs us individually as a society, what's the single most definitely agree, bro. But if a lack of economic understanding costs us individually and as a society, what's the single most important concept you think schools should be teaching but currently don't? I don't know the answer to that question. My brain doesn't think that way. But what I will say is having many tools is super important.
Now we can
Having
get into the
many
debate
tools
about whether
is super important. And knowing why, or just kind of like passive knowledge is also good because you're not being aware of how economics work or just certain economic insights helps you to be able to make more astute decisions, which is what I assume E-Man is getting at and why it should be useful. So I definitely agree. I think the problem comes where, because it's such a heavy subject, feeling like there's so much to learn is just probably quite common because there is a lot to learn. But I guess freedom is capital is going to be bridging that gap for us. So I'm going to stick because, again, I don't know much about economics. I read a book once and it was called The Power of Geography or something like that. And it kind of just spoke about how where something is also plays a big part into how it can act as a unit or a country. And economics is the same because you're just now looking at product function and output in a real world environment. So yeah, I do think knowing these type of things is good because then if you want to move and go somewhere, you can understand or you can at least analyze the situation to know how you can make the most out of it. You don't necessarily want to begin to exploit. I think a lot of people immorally use economics or their understanding of it to exploit and create loopholes, but everybody pays for their own crimes if they don't accept salvation. So that's down to them. Immorality. Let's see if he's got anything else up. Nah, he's just got these three. Channel's new. 90 subscribers in less than a week is banging, and I feel like this mic is just gonna fall out. So hold on. The mic being loose was just a bit annoying. Anyway, let's look on Steam and see if there's another game. Oh, we could also try where the winds meet. Hey, you killed my mic. No. For some reason, it changes my headphone output to the handheld for some reason. Very weird. Okay. Let's see if the game loads. It's taken a long time to launch the game. While this game decides to load, I'll take advantage and take a break. This game's still not launched. Crazy work. Or is it me? It was defo me. I think I need to reroute the audio for this though. My CPU's overloaded. How? Mm. Oh, we can hear it. So we can hear that, yeah? Mm. Well, I think that was doing way too much for my computer, trying to run that game. If I was running it off my PlayStation and through the ATEM, it would be good. And that's a good thing to know, actually, because, again, my computer is not enough to manage that smoothly, which is fine. But knowing that for a production environment would be good. So I'm happy to know that, and I can do some research in my own time. But what is on free? What do we think, people? Ah, I feel like I saw somebody playing this. All right, it's Babidi. All right, let's see how we go with this one. Looks weird. Mm, just need to route this audio real quick. Okay, this is a point and click game. Must be. I would much prefer to play this with the pad though. Let me see if it works. What is this? Why is it doing that? So it's saying that you can, because there's something here, but maybe this isn't. I have a PlayStation pad and this is an Xbox. Okay. This is kind of like Metal Garden in its megalithic depravity and size. That was just to see if there was an achievement, not because I would ever harm a dog. Sounds like that's me breathing down the mic, and it's certainly not me. Hey. This game is so random. I don't know if I have full damage. I guess I don't. What? Were you just here? All right. I think I've had enough of that game. We done what we needed to do. Anyway, we beat the game we intended to beat. So I'm gonna end the stream. I'm probably gonna go play some Call of Duty, so I might just stream that to Twitch. But thanks for joining. I'm gonna find a new game that is not that nonsense to play because that was ridiculous. But I hope you have a good evening. And again, thank you for joining me. It's been a good one. It's been nice and short, kept it brief, and it's been a productive day. So enjoy your evening and goodbye.